Hey everyone, King Size Customs here, pulling a double load. I got a new truck because I wanted something that I could haul logs with. Unfortunately, they didn't have a log cart, so we're gonna get a song playing here, and then I'll come back and I have a couple of things I want to say. That was one of the strangest drives that I've ever done. When you see the truck rocking and turning a lot, it's because we're on a dirt road. I did nothing to make that look. I did nothing to, add to that look. It was just that's how the game was. It's how the road is. So, anyway, it's a long video. It's around 53 minutes. So I hope you guys have a good amount of time. I know it's close to like twice the length of my regular videos, but I think you guys like it. So yeah, last week was not that great. Wasn't a good video. Last week's video got delayed, so unfortunately, but this week I'm trying this new script thing. Not sure if I like it, but hey, it's worth a try. So I have to sit and write a topic. This one's a doozy, really. So as I write this, it's the week before Halloween. It's the weekend before Halloween. So I do what every busybody does. On a weekend, I don't really do that much, but I do what every busybody does. I scroll through my phone on Instagram and Facebook and see the people from my past. Alright, my younger school days, when I was in middle school. So I see everybody, they're all dressed up. I mean, dressed as you would expect people in their early 20s, mid 20s, I'd say. You would see this, what I find so... I'm sorry, guys. I'm just running all over the script here. Not even really putting emotion in it. I'm sorry. Let me try to read this with a little bit of emotion, because when I was writing this, it was about like a week ago. It was the weekend before Halloween, and I'm recording this the day after Halloween. I'm still tired. I was up till about 12. We were handing out candy. It was an impressive, but so back from the top. My past life, my younger life. My younger school years, so middle school. These people that I saw on Instagram and Facebook, these were friends of mine. I guess you could say acquaintances now, since I don't really spend that much time with them. But so I look up, I look at my Facebook, I look through my Instagram, and they're all dressed up in costumes. And I mean, what do you typically expect people in their 20s to wear? they're doing this thing called the crawl or the loop, which is the weekend before Halloween or weekend of Halloween. You hit the local bar scene, which I believe is my college that I used to go to. So, anyway. And what I see is a lot of girls wearing a lot of, like, revealing and tight clothing. And what I find so paradoxical about it was we were raised in a school system that wanted us to act a certain way, be a certain way, and dress a certain way. And I did accept that when I was younger, but when I got a little bit older and got a little bit more autonomy, a little bit more freedom, see, my mom kind of raised me to not just go blindly along. She wanted me to do what was right. She wanted me to question what I felt was wrong and try to get a real answer, don't the type of things where, people would just follow and not have any expectations or any questions and just blindly follow. Where with me it was, I always wanted the answer and I wanted the right answer. I wanted what you honestly thought you were doing. But, again, anyway, going back, how this relates, going back is, we had to wear school uniforms, we had to wear certain things. I mean, our shirts had to be pressed a certain way, our pants had to be a certain way. We had to wear certain brands of dress shoes, which, hey, I got away with it because really, like they say in Shawshank Redemption, who really looks at a man's shoes? I mean, really, I wore loafers and we were supposed to have like tie-up dress shoes, but then again, due to my visual impairment and my poor hand-eye coordination at the time, I couldn't tie dress shoe laces because if you've ever tried to do it, the laces are thinner and they're a little bit slicker, so they would just slide right out of my hands. But anyway, the people that I talk about who are all dressed up in tight and revealing clothes, the girls mostly, some guys probably were wearing revealing clothes, but nobody really cares about that. I mean, really? But anyway, these were the people who would blindly follow and go along. These were the people who thought nothing of, I can only have this certain pair of earrings, these post earrings. I can't have dangle earrings. I can't have hoops. Which, in 8th grade, I had an earring too, and, well, that's another story for another video. I don't know if we have time, I might tell it, but it's just, I find it so paradoxical, that so weird, so strange, that these were the people who would go along and, were taught, oh, you can't say this, or you can't express this opinion, you have to do this, you have to go along, and yet you see them now and it's like, you're acting different than how you were way back when. I know people grow and change, but this is a dramatic change. This is almost like right out of left field. And then there's me, where it's like, I really didn't change that much. There are things that if I don't understand, I will ask a question. I don't like to blindly follow, because when you blindly follow, things happen. I mean, just look through history. There's a history of people blindly following, and they're not using their best judgment, really. But I don't want to go too deep into the weeds with that, because there's a lot of treacherous areas. There's a lot of thin ice that I could be walking here. You just, at the time, you don't know. But what I know now is that these are people who you would never expect just by how they acted a certain way. And then you start to realize as you get older, maybe that's just part of the growing process. As you age, you mature, you start picking up on things, you start realizing things. Now, the other thing that I don't quite understand is why. I guess it's because it's fun, it's popular, it's the thing to do, but if that's not really who you are, then why do you try to fit in? I don't know. I guess I'm just too different from the crowd. I've never really totally fit in with anywhere. I'm not what you would say, and this is my grandfather saying, I'm not what you would necessarily say a good-looking guy, but I figure I look average, and then, you have the skin, You have the differences in my skin where, yeah, I don't look like everybody else. And people judge. But I don't really care what people think of me, because you get to know me, you get to like me. You know, a lot of people like me, surprisingly enough, even though I don't come across as the most charming or most good-looking person. I mean, a lot of reasons why people start a relationship is more of that physical attraction, and then you learn about the person, you build an interest in the person because of their hobbies, their likes. You know, you start seeing commonalities or things you have in common with these people, and that's why a lot of people start falling in love later. You know, you start out with the physical attraction and then you fall in love. But so yeah, it's just the Halloween thing as an adult. To me, it's something I can't explain. I don't know, man. I mean, I stopped going out trick-or-treating when I was about 13 maybe. And the other thing was, you know, due to certain life situations, I kind of aged up a little. I kind of aged a little bit faster. I want to say maybe that's due to certain things not health-related, and maybe some certain things health-related, but I always was getting told by teachers, other people, other members, you know, other figures of authority that I am wise beyond my years. But I don't know, maybe it's due to how my health was, and that I always thought, well, I don't want to go that deep, but I think you guys who know where I was going with that. But yeah, it's just I don't know, I find it so strange, and that's kind of why I talk about these things in my videos. I do want audience participation, so please drop your comments in the comment box. Don't feel like I will ever try to silence you or block your comment or take down your comment. The only time I do that is when people write things that are inappropriate, so please, no foul language, no arguing with anybody in the comments. But I feel that I'm such a small channel that nobody's going to argue with each other. We're all friends here. We all pretty much know each other. Those of us who make videos, we check out our videos, or, you know, the people that I mentioned in my videos, you guys already know of, and you already check out their videos. So, but really, it's just, I don't know. I mean, Halloween was last night, and there were a couple of things I said that made my brother and sister my brother and sister are like, God, will you stop acting like an old man? What are you going to do? This is my brother, of course. He's like, what are you going to do next? Tell children getting Halloween candy to get off your lawn? Like, no, it's Halloween. I understand that. But, hey, you know, sometimes I feel like I really am older than I am. As of recording this, I'm 24. I'll be 25 in March. So you guys already know a lot about me anyway, but I don't know. I mean, it's a weird time for me. I don't know about these modern times, I guess. You know, the other thing is the parents. You know, I am the youngest. My sister was born in well, let's just say I'm the youngest. I'm 25. You know, I don't want to go and give out too much personal information about my family, but I'll give out certain personal information about me. But yeah, so I'm 24 now, and a lot of my friends are a year younger than I am. Well, peers are a year younger than I am because of just being held back. I was held back in first grade. Anyway, a lot of their parents are like what I like to call like the nouveau riche, and, you know, the let's have fun parents, where my mom was kind of, you know, it's not fair to say that my mom was totally strict, but in my formative years, yeah, there were things that I couldn't do. There were things that I couldn't say. You know, Friday nights, I wasn't always going to the mall and just going to hang out with friends when I was younger. You know, my mom worked. My mom's a single parent. You know, My mom was again, like I said, my mom was a single parent. Let that sink in for a moment. So when my mom got home on a Friday night, it was nothing for her to put her feet up after getting us something to eat. She would put her feet up and watch TV. And then weekends came, we were doing housework. I was mowing grass, weeding, pulling out plants, helping my mom plant stuff, helping my mom lift lumber, helping my mom do things at Home Depot to go, basic home improvements. While, I come in on a Monday to school and I hear about everybody going out to the mall or going to so and so's party, and it was like, you know what? I want that, but now that I'm older, I realize I don't really want that. For my kids, I'd rather my future kids, if I do have kids, everything's up in the air right now still. I'm 24 and I don't have my life totally together. I've got bits and pieces here. I'm still trying to cobble a life together, as my mom always says. But anyway, it's like, I'd rather teach my kids that, if you want something, you go and you do it. You go for it. Nothing ever came to anybody. Nobody ever got their house cleaned while they were at a party. Nobody ever built muscles when they were sitting behind a keyboard typing. That kind of thing. The whole work thing. And I know I don't have the best work ethic right now. I'd rather do something I love and work at something I love than getting paid oodles of money for something I hate. But at the other part of that, at the other part of that spectrum, I realize that sometimes we don't get to do our dream job. We have to find happiness in other ways, legal ways, of course. But my mom and brother were talking about this recently. My mom's an accountant. It's not the most fun of jobs, and it's not a high-paying job, really. Don't get me wrong, I do really well. We do really well. We have a house that's ours. Yeah, like everybody else, you know what I mean. We have things. We do things. But it's just, a lot of these people, they're working the big money jobs. They're having fun doing these big money jobs, but they're spending like fiends, from what I can tell. And this is the era we're growing up in. I'm growing up in. I guess you could say I'm a grown up, but still I don't feel grown up. There's that whole open quotation marks, adulting, closed quotation marks, where people are like, got my first paycheck, blah, blah, blah. Just bought a house, blah, blah, blah. Got a new car, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you know what? Me? Okay, got a new job. Getting paid steadily. Things aren't so topsy-turvy, but parts of that are going away for retirement because, like I said, I have some health issues that I need to be aware of that will affect me later in life. I've got glaucoma, and yeah, I can see now for the moment, for the month, for the year, I hope, but again, it's not guaranteed. I'm not always going to have, I don't even know what my vision is now, but I'm not always going to have that, so I need to put some money away for later. I've got high blood pressure. That's it's controlled with medication, but as I get older, it's an uphill battle, man. And the other thing is, a lot of the people I talk about weren't born with the circumstances I was born with. 2-parent household, healthy as a horse. Didn't even know what high blood pressure was. Probably still don't know what high blood pressure is. Don't know what edema is. Never have known the struggle of not seeing. Don't get me wrong. When I say not seeing, I mean everything's blurry to the point where you're walking into walls or you're riding. And this is a story that I only know because my mom told me the truth. But it's like, you're young, you're learning how to ride a bike, you're riding a tricycle, and you're just banging in the trash cans. And your parents worry about you being so clumsy. Truth is, I didn't have good vision. I was legally blind. I had glaucoma. My mom knew I was going to have glaucoma. She just didn't know how old I was going to be when I had glaucoma. Turns out, first grade? Yeah, you can't see jack, boy. Time to go see an eye doctor. And then after that, you can't see a regular eye doctor. You got to go see a specialist. Thank God my mom had decent insurance at the time. I'll say decent because she was paying through the nose, but worked for a good company. DuPont, which is now a relic of time, which is now just a relic. There's no DuPont anymore. It's Dow Chemical in Delaware. But again, another story for another day. But, as bitter as I sound in these videos, it's not really how I feel. I'm happy most of the time, guys. I mean, I'm doing little things that I like to do. I mean, I'd be happier if I could get a license, but the other thing to think about that is I'd have to spend whatever gas costs, because cars don't run on dreams and hopes. It takes money to fuel a car. Repairs, which, yeah, I can do some things and have my brother help me do some things, but again, it's not cheap. You got to buy parts. You got to buy oil. You got to buy oil filters. Tires cost money. Even not great tires cost money. I mean, used tires cost money too. This is where I crack into a bus, I believe. I didn't even see him in the mirrors. But yeah, everything, having a license costs money. There's car insurance, tires, regular maintenance, fuel. Where for me now, it may cost $28 a day if I want to go to another part of the state, and I'm only allowed to, on the transportation service that I'm talking about, I'm only allowed to stay within the state. I can't go to Maryland. I can't go to Pennsylvania. I can use Lyft, but again, I have some issues with Lyft. It's expensive. I mean, yeah, a license would be great. A motorcycle license would be better, because nowadays motorcycles aren't terribly, terribly expensive. You can find a used one. They're not hard to work on. They're small motors. But again, there's more risk. There's more danger to having a motorcycle. Again, I'm 24. Haven't had a license, so don't have much experience with a motorcycle. My mom would never let me have one while she's living, so that kind of rules that out. But by and large, I live vicariously through motor vloggers and watch all their videos. So it's like, I watch people ride through Georgia, Las Vegas, Florida, which is a place I'd love to live. Well, I say that now, but I'd probably need to spend 3 months? Yeah, let's say 3 months in Florida just to see how I do. Because then there's hurricane season, which is also something us in Delaware never experience. So, I mean, we have it, and Hurricane Sandy was bad, but, there wasn't a lot of significant damage where I was at the time. But that's just that. I mean, and the reason why I bring this up is I had a professor, and he talked about, he always wanted those houses in the really, really nice neighborhood. The expensive houses, where the creme de la creme of Delawareans lived. And he was like, yeah, I kind of always wanted those houses. But as I drive by, I sit there in my car at a red light and ponder this. Are they really happy? And I know he was doing it as a joke, but sometimes there's a lot of truth in what comedians say. And this was a professor. He's not a real comedian, I guess. But anyway, the thing that I sit and ponder half the time while I'm doing these videos and I'm talking to you, because I know I do a lot of gloom and doom. I know I do a lot of sad stuff. And some of my videos, I'm pretty sure some of you guys are like, maybe you should seek help. But anyway, what I think is, a lot of these people I see with cars, and they're making big money, is that stuff does not last for all that time. Beauty fades away. Good looks are not permanent. Brains, yeah, brains last forever. Well, okay, I know you guys are going to say, but what about dementia and Alzheimer's and all that? And yeah, there's a couple of cases in my extended family, in my immediate family. Yeah, okay, you got me there. But brains last longer than beauty. Big money, when you're making those super fat checks, or you think it's a super fat check, that doesn't last. From what I've noticed, and this is just observational, there's no study that I've conducted. I haven't done a longitudinal design of an experiment of, okay, people working at such and such a place where it's all glitzy and glamorous, making, let's say, $500 a week, which again, that's probably a small amount, but let's say, $2,000 a week, that's a large amount as far as I'm concerned. These jobs do not last, especially in retail, especially in anything glitzy and glamour. I mean, anything glamorous, there's so much competition. And the other thing is, when you work these big money jobs, they're expecting you to spend big money on clothing, big money on appearance. I've heard, and this is bad, but it's like, I work for the state. I have to shop at the Salvation Army. I have to shop at the Goodwill, which, nothing against shopping at the Goodwill or the Salvation Army, but they're not new clothes that you're buying there. You're buying used clothes. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, the shirt that I'm wearing today that you can't see is a shirt that I bought at the Goodwill that was if I can remember honestly, it was probably maybe $5, maybe $10 at the most. It came from Target, which I could never find anything in 2XL at Target. I saw the same style shirt at Target in a different size for $20. You got to do what you got to do to keep your family alive. Keep your family alive, keep your money straight. I mean, I can't eat steak and lobster. Not that I really like lobster, to tell you the truth, but I can't eat steak and lobster every night of the week. There's nights of the week where I eat hot dogs, and I enjoy hot dogs. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I would like something that's a little bit better nutritionally, but for the time being, I'm happy just getting a meal. I've known a person who, they wouldn't feed this person. The family would not feed this person. They were on their own to get their own meals, and I've seen them. There are some days this person just didn't eat. There were some days this person, the only meal they were getting was breakfast. And at that, it was like a cup of cereal with water. Which, trust me, I've had cereal with water. It is not a good taste. Your cereal starts sticking to the bowl, especially if you got a styrofoam bowl. Oh boy, it's just one soppy mess. But yeah, this person was eating cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it was a cup. And they were rationing that out for a week. They were trying their best. Now, I couldn't be terrible. I gave this person, because I knew them, they invited me in their home. They're a good friend of mine. I wanted to be cool, and I didn't want to say anything, but I also wanted them to find the money that I had left under a glass. So I was like, look, dude, it ain't much, but I hope this can get you a little something. And I think it was all of maybe $10, which, I don't know, at the dollar store might get you a bag of buns and a couple packs of hot dog rolls and a couple packs of hot dogs. But that's the thing. The other thing is, I think maybe the reason why I act a certain way, I talk a certain way, is just because of the whole scenario of life. When you see different things, let me get my thoughts together on this real quick for a minute. When you see different things and you experience different things, there's always that, I hope it never happens to me, but there's always that, for me, there's that second part where it's that's so hard, that's got to be devastating for you. I hope that never happens to me, but I want to help you get through this because I know you would help me get through this. I hope I'm making sense here. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir with a lot of this, but I mean, really, it's just a lot of these people, and I'm going from past traits. I mean, we all grow up, we all realize things. You know, I think I mentioned it previously. I know I've said my mom's a single parent, but it's like my parents were pretty much divorced my first round of first grade, and then I had where I had an operation that took me a month out of school, so I had to repeat first grade, which is devastating when you're all of about 6 or 7. You know, my world was pretty much crashing down. So if that ain't a tale of resilience, I don't know what is, man. But the other thing is, there's a statement that my grandfather always said. Now, forgive him for the poor grammar here, but the statement was, you ain't where you came from. You is who you is, and you make who you are. Now, I know that's not grammatically correct, but if you leave it for what the statement says, you are not where you came from. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you're poor. You're always going to be poor. If you work hard, yes, you may become less poor, you may become wealthy. You know, just because my parents divorced does not mean that my marriage will or will not end in divorce if I get married. You know, just because I have some health setbacks does not mean that my kids will have, well, it means my kids may or may not have health setbacks. That's just what it is. You know, I've always looked up to that, though, the you're not where you came from. You know, I don't have to be like my father. I don't have to be, I'm my own person. I can be the best out of people who were around me. I know that's a real heavy topic for a guy driving a semi-truck at night, but these are the thoughts that come into my head when I listen to music as I'm driving, when I drive the semis. You know, I also listen to podcasts, just something to kind of kill the time, because just sitting here listening to the truck, it gets a little boring after a while. I guess I can say that. But I mean, it's just, I want, if there is ever somebody to quote me, I want them to quote me for a lot of my lifestyle type statements. You know, you're not where you come from. And I know that's not a quote that can be attributed to me, but if somebody can take that and run with it and live with that, that's fine. You know, I don't want to be known as the guy who's always just bringing us down. I want to be the guy who gives you that little bit of sober reality. And that's the thing. You know, I was told when I was young, when I was 16, it just, everything hit me so hard. I was in high school, wanted to get my license. I thought I could get my license at 18. So again, there was hope. Didn't happen. 24, still no license. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there, I had just got a laptop for my birthday, and I'm sitting there and I'm cruising Facebook at the time, and I'm seeing everybody borrowing their parents' cars, going out, driving, or different posts about, just went out for a drive just because I wanted to go out for a drive. You know, that was me. I'd love to go out for a drive, but I was told to stop looking at Facebook because it's not real. You know, it's the peacocking of social media. Almost nobody's real. I know I've said this probably once or twice before, but again, my problem is I'm a little too real sometimes. You know, especially in these videos. Which, going by my YouTube analytics, not a lot of you guys watch, and that's okay. That's why I kind of save it for like the middle or the end of the video and say, well, hope you guys enjoyed, because not a lot of you watch these, but as I look, it's kind of towards the middle of the video, maybe a little bit greater than the middle. Oh, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. But, yeah, you know, I was told to stop trying to live like all these other people. Stop trying to emulate what your friends are like, because you're going to lose yourself and you're going to just become basically a mirror of what these people are. Originality is great. Originality is kind of the spice of life. You can pull little aspects of different people and try to act like them, but the problem is, sooner or later you're going to fall into that trap where it's like, oh God, I got to keep up with the Joneses, or oh God, I got to keep up with the random name. I'm not going to mention anybody because then you guys could probably look them up, and I don't want that. A lot of this is for me. A lot of this is my documentation. But hey, it's just what I was told was get off Facebook. Go out, do something. Go for a walk. This was before I had found car customization. Go out, go for a walk, play video games, watch YouTube videos. Do something that makes you happy instead of just trying to see what everybody else is doing. And that's the trap that a lot of us fall in. We see what other people are doing and we get stuck. We want to be like them. Or maybe not you guys, but me. It's like, I want to be like them. I want to be perfectly healthy. I want to not have to take high blood pressure medication or drops 4 times a day. But the problem is, I'm not them. This is a really bad comparison, but it's like, I was in high school and Justin Bieber was the pop star of Justin Bieber had his 15 minutes of fame with Baby, and it's like, the guy's 17, 18, got a Lamborghini Gallardo or a Ferrari, same age as me, has a career, a big house, expensive cars. But you know what the thing is? Let me take it back. Is he really happy? Does he really get to enjoy that big house? All the fame, all the money, all the car that he has. The Fisker Karma that he had, which is for those of you who don't know, it was like one of the first electric cars before Elon Musk had or it was around the same time Elon Musk had the Tesla, and these guys were part of Tesla, but their company failed. But it's like, really, does he get to enjoy that? Now that hindsight being 2020, those of you who probably followed the story, if you really cared about Justin Bieber, it was like he was doing all these things to get attention, and he was really just hurting himself. He had lost that starry-eyed teen sensation, pop star, boy band-esque reputation. But here's the other thing, those who know me, it's like, yeah, this guy never changed. I lost my train of thought there, but it's like, I never changed. I am who I am. There are going to be people who just don't like me. There are going to be people who get their kicks stomping on other streams. And I know it seems kind of odd, but that's life. I hope you guys got that Frank Sinatra reference. I had just listened to that song and I probably messed it all up. But yeah, there are others who get their kicks stomping on other streams. But hey, that's life. And I know this is corny and a lot of these YouTubers say it. Haters are my motivation. Haters, people who don't like my videos, kind of are my motivation. I try to make better videos. Somebody just commented on my video as I'm recording this. Somebody had commented on my video the day before about, well, you basically have a clickbaity title. You didn't say anything that anybody else didn't say. Your quality is trash. Your video pretty much sucks. So I'm going to give it a thumbs down. And what I did was, and I didn't think this guy was going to respond, but I went, so basically this was a bad time for me. I was, I didn't know what I was doing. I actually use an editor now to edit my videos. I forget what it was, but it was like, this was bedtime for me. I don't really do the clickbaity titles anymore. I use a video editing software. And the other thing was, what do you watch? What are you watching my videos on? And they basically just gave a whole explanation of, I use a Hewlett Packard, which is HP, but again, this guy probably is trying to make me not do videos, or maybe he's giving constructive criticism, but he just has it worded so poorly. But anyway, I use this such and such with this much gigabytes, and I am watching it on the Verizon Fios platform with 100 blah 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 megabytes per 100 blah blah blah. He just gave this whole lengthy explanation, which goes over my head, but anyway. And it's like, you know what? I checked this guy's channel out. This guy hasn't made a video. This guy likes one video that got deleted. Really, it's not what I want to call a bot, but I think this guy just goes and watches videos and then just likes to comment on them and try to convince people not to do videos. I've gotten so much support on, and recently it's hilarious, I've gotten so much support on things that I didn't expect them to turn out this well, and the things that didn't turn out well, a lot of people are just giving me little tips and tricks. My contractor package, Ford by Matchbox. Posted that up to a Facebook group. A guy comments, hey, it looks like you're having trouble doing grill detail. Why don't you use some acrylic markers by this brand? And the tip size is 0.005, by the macro brand or micro brand. Use these, they're great. And other people are like, nobody gives, a lot of people don't give me bad feedback. It's good feedback. A lot of people say, one of my favorite customizers on Instagram, and her Instagram account is Andrea's Toy Box. She does a lot of car customization. She does a lot of diorama stuff. She's a good customizer, but there are some things where she just says, I didn't do so well here, I didn't do so well there. Anyway, she gave me some of the best support, where it's like, just keep doing what you're doing, you'll get there eventually. It's a decent start. The project I'm talking about is the Heartbreak Bronco. I tried to do an Eddie Bauer Bronco, and because of mixing semi-gloss with gloss clear coat, it pretty much just ate the paint away. But she pretty much just said, keep doing what you're doing and you'll be all right. That's a little running theme in my life for the meantime, for right now. I had a professor it was a class in college, Delaware history. This guy actually taught my mom in high school, so gives you a little bit of perspective on how old this guy is. And I told my mom, it's actually the professor it's actually the teacher you think it is. This is the same guy. And she's like, well, listen to him, because Crumb, and that's his name, Crumb never lies. And this is such a terrible story. So I'm taking my final, and I'll tell the full story, but this is an abridged version. So I'm taking my final test for his class, and I am sick as a dog. There is just clear stuff running out of my nose, and I'm holding like a paper towel up to my nose, trying to write out the essays, trying to fill out the questions. And I handed my test in my blue book, because it's about half the size of a regular copybook, composition book, and it has just like maybe 5 to 10 pages in it. And he provided them for us, which was super nice. But he's like, Mr. Cruden, I want to say something to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep working hard, and you'll get along just fine. And of course, I'm sick, so I'm hearing it in one ear, and I wanted to get out of there so bad. So I ask him this question and I feel terrible because I asked him this question. And I go, are you talking about this class or are you talking about life? I think I just asked him, are you talking about this class? And he said, no, I'm talking about life. And I was like, as I was standing there, as I leave the room, it finally hits me after sitting there, after being out of the room for about an hour, it finally hits me. And this is something that I've kind of kept in the back of my mind. He meant about life. And at the time I didn't know this, but I come home and my mom goes, how was your final? I'm like, I think I did pretty well. I wrote for a good while. I was like the third to last person out. And I was like, Mom, Professor Crumb said something to me. He said, keep doing what you're doing and you'll do just fine. Keep working hard and you'll do fine. And I asked him, was he talking about the class? And he said, no, he was talking about life. And my mom turned around and said, take that for what it is. You know, keep that in mind. Because Crumb never lies. I was like, wait, what? So, and the other thing that makes this kind of impactful for me was that was my second semester, still in freshman year. My first semester, freshman year, was horrid. It was horrible. So I'll tell that probably in the next Truck and Talk. But actually I will talk about that in my next Truck and Talk. But it was just, I've never really heard somebody that wasn't from my family say, keep working hard. You know, this was directly talking to me. And it was just, I had never, in my wildest dreams, expected somebody to say that to me. So, and that was really that. You know, it was just something that'll always stay with me. But hey, you know, when people are right, I guess, right? But yeah, the other thing is, I feel bad saying this because I know there are people who had it worse than me. But, you know, sometimes I think maybe if situations were different, maybe I would have been different, you know? Maybe I would have laughed a little bit harder. Maybe I would have not cared as much. Maybe I wouldn't have been so stressed out during college. But you know what? The funny thing is, I think the stress and the wanting to, the wanting to do good and work hard probably was what got me through college. That and a lot of support from my mom and brother. I can't lie about that. I mean, I was supported to the max. I wanted to drop out pretty much every year, and I didn't. And now, as I sit here, my bachelor's degree in psychology is behind me. There are a lot of people that I look at and I speak to that are visually impaired or blind, and my counselor. Let me rephrase this. So I work with a visually impaired counselor to help me get a job. And I had just been put in a program not that long ago that'll help me get a job. Now, the jobs I am looking at are jobs that have career advancement. These are not, and there's nothing wrong with this. Don't take it the wrong way, guys. Please don't. These are not jobs where it's like you work behind a cash register or you're stocking boxes. These are jobs that actually will use my judgment, will use what I've learned in college. And the funny thing is, there's like 6 or 7 of them. And I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's amazement, but it just seems like the pinnacle of rewards right now is that because I was pushed, I'm actually kind of reaping some of life's rewards. Now, I know these are all still just shots in the dark, You know, nothing's set in stone, nothing's totally official, but to get such opportunities just blows my mind. So that is really what it is. I mean, just to have these opportunities, I am immensely thankful. What is this guy doing? This guy on the left of us. Because I think I need to get over. Oh, maybe I was in his blind spot. Oh, no. He's trying to see how fast I am so he can come over. Okay. Yeah, at the time I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And of course, it's like the city part of Oregon. So I really am just like, all right, let's try to take it slow. Let's not get up into the gears because you got intersections where you got traffic coming from both ways and no street lights. So, but I think I do pretty good on this all. I think I handle it like a pro. Now the other thing too is you guys see me stopping way before the traffic lights. You know, I'm not used to driving, as I've said in other videos. So I just tried to do my best here. But you know, sometimes you get rewarded, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it really just comes back and bites you in the butt. Like here's about where I try to stop. And then you'll see I kind of try to, oh, nope. I just dropped it into neutral here and just kind of went off the gas. That's why you heard the brake. Oh, another time where I need to turn around too. Yeah, GPS throws me off. Oh man, this is bad. But yeah, we're almost at the end, guys. But yeah, this is bad. I mean, I've got like a double trailer and I'm covering all 3 lanes so nobody can scoot up. Thank God I'm in the turn lane. But so go through a red light. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, let me know, guys. I hope this made a little bit of an impact. Hey, if you didn't watch all the way to the end, it's all good. You know, I know this video is long. I find myself kind of taking breaks from videos, pausing, going out and doing something else, and then coming back to the video. So it is what it is, guys. You know, there's so much out there on YouTube right now that's worth watching. So, all right, I'll see you later.